Hey guys, Mitch Carter with Southern Appalachian Anglers here. Today we're going to talk about the Piopod, or the Pack It Out Pod by Fish Pond. So Piopods are really cool. I've just recently started using them, and I would go as far as to say that they are the avid conservationist's sidekick, if you will. So basically what these things are is they're just mini trash cans, guys, but as Fish Pond calls them, they are micro trash containers, right? So basically these little guys help keep all that trash line, all those used clip tag ends, blown out flies, baits, old hooks, chip bags, dip cans, whatever you're needing to throw away while you're on the water. And instead of it ending up in the wild, it ends up in these little guys right here. So they come in two different sizes now. So I think this product has been out for right at a decade, if not a little bit over a decade. So they're pretty old. And I think they used to come in different sizes back then. But now you have the big ones, which are about the same size as like a 16-ounce coffee cup. And they're called the largemouth Piopods. And the micro trash containers, which are, I think, the classic product, which is basically just for like smaller lines, leaders, tippets, like what you would use on fly fishing, and it clips really easily to a pack. So basically these things are just, they can go anywhere. So I keep the orange one here in my truck. I slide it right there in the cup holder, right beside my door, and I put just random truck trash in that, and that helps keep my truck nice and clean. So when my clients take a ride in it, they're not like, ooh, what's all this weird trash doing in here? Not that that was a problem before, but then I'll keep this blue one here, and I like color coordinate. Keep the blue one here on my smallmouth bag, so that way when somebody gets a tangle, I have to cut and retie, I can take that old line, throw it off into that cup. A hook point gets dull, have to get rid of the hook point instead of it getting into the bottom of the raft and potentially poking a hole in it. I put that off in the largemouth Piopod there. And the first one that I bought was the micro trash container, and I keep it slid up right next to my tippet holder on my fly fishing pack. So I've got the Fish Pond lumbar submersible thunderhead pack, and this thing integrates really well on the little square buckles that you will find on most of Fish Pond's submersible products. And this one here has a little clip that clips right onto those little buckles very nicely, and it's also got just a little holder right there at the very head of it, to where if you were so inclined, I guess you could maybe tie it off or buckle it up to something, however you wanted to set this thing up. But the only thing that I don't like about the largemouth Piopods is they don't have much by way of securing them to the side of something. So really the only thing that you have right there to hold this thing onto anything or to tie it down is this little loop that's on the side of it here. And you can secure that down with a zip tie. That's what I do when I tie mine onto my smallmouth bag. But every time I want to take it off, I gotta cut a zip tie and tie a new one back on there. And oddly enough, Fish Pond, I think they provided me a zip tie for the micro trash container that has the clip, but they did not provide me zip ties for the largemouths, which is kind of weird because it's like, how the heck am I supposed to put this thing on my back? But basically what I do is I find a good hook point for a zip tie and just kind of tie that thing on there. So guys, these things are, like I say, they're really cool. They're made out of 100% recycled materials. I think all of Fish Pond's stuff, if not all of, some of Fish Pond stuff, if not all of Fish Pond stuff, is made 100% of recycled plastic at this point. And honestly, I've got a smallmouth boat bag, I've got a Fish Pond boat bag. I've got a Fish Pond lumbar fly fishing pack. I've got a Fish Pond net. I've got these Piopods. I've got the Fish Pond sushi roll when they were still making those, and I think they still make those, maybe not. But I'm just kind of a Fish Pond nut. I love their products. And this Piopod, when I saw these things existed, I was like, whoa, that's way cool. Like, because you can just keep all that trash that just gets scattered all over your boat or all over the bottom of your fly fishing pack. And just put it in one spot, and at the end of the day you can recycle it, throw it away, whatever you need to do with it, right? But most importantly, it keeps it out of the water. And hopefully you're not that guy that just leaves those tag ends and leaves trash in the water, because if you are, cut it out and get you a Piopod, right? So guys, I wanted to throw this in here for free, so to help you think about it a little bit more. So it takes monofilament fishing line, and this is off of a quick Google search, 600 years to deteriorate in the wild. And for fluorocarbon, which everybody knows is a little bit denser, a little bit stouter stuff, it takes 4,000 years. Now, if you want to fact check me on that, you can. That's just going off of a random Google search. Like I say, that's the first thing that popped up when I searched. How long does this deteriorate? How long does that deteriorate? But ultimately speaking, it doesn't matter how long it takes to deteriorate. It shouldn't be out in the wild, right? And neither should your chip bags or dip cans or cigarette butts or any of that stuff. And I'll say this: most of the trash that we find when we're out, doing work through our nonprofit, a lot of it is the micro trash. So basically, things that we would consider micro trash on the river are things like, again, cigarette butts, small leaders and lines that you would use when you're fly fishing, little bottle caps, stuff like that. Really small pieces of trash. And a lot of times people just, kind of throw those things out there thinking, oh, well, this is a small item. It's not going to make that much of an impact. But I would say that a lot of what we find when we do our trash pickups, again, through our nonprofit, is just this micro trash just saturated into the earth. And in some of these places, if you were to dig far enough, you'd probably come across some old cigarette butts or somebody's old fishing line or something like that, especially on, more higher trafficked areas of the river, or maybe, pieces of river that might run by a road. Of course, people are driving by the road all the time, just kind of throwing stuff out the side of the vehicles, right? And of course, on trash pickups, you're going to find a lot of water bottles, wrappers, corrugated pipes, soap bottles, cans, all kinds of nasty stuff. But a lot of it too is that micro trash. And the Piopods are a really good way to help you do your part in not, saturating the earth with the tiny little bits of trash. Because like I say, a piece of 7X tippet that's only maybe an inch long isn't going to pollute the earth that much, but it's still polluting the earth. And if everybody just threw that stuff out there and just to let it sit and saturate in the earth and in our rivers, eventually it piles up over time, and it does a lot more harm than a lot of people might think. So that's something to keep in mind.
Alright guys, so basically what I've done here is I've just put together a cart on Fishpond's website with everything included in this video. So right here we have one Piopod micro trash container and 2 of the largemouth Piopods. Now, these micro trash containers are ringing in at about $13 a pop, and the largemouth Piopods are coming in at about $20 a pop. For a grand total of around $52.85, which in my opinion is totally worth it for these little items. So kind of getting into just the Piopods page here. So when you open it up, you've got a selection of all 4 pretty colors. But one problem that I found, and this might just be a website bug within Fishpond, is there's no way to select which color you want. Now, to me, it didn't really matter which color I had. Don't really care. Just wanted the functionality of the product. So I just ordered it and just kind of waited to see which color they might send me, and they ended up sending me that pretty little blue color right there. So there's that. Now, all that being said, is kind of scrolling down here through this page here on Fishpond. The specs, just so you can see them, 3.2 by 1.9 inches in diameter, and again, just for kind of a focal visual aspect, just the size of 2 golf balls essentially. And basically it's just touting that, it's made out of recyclable products. And down here you see a few pictures, one of what looks to be the Piopod clipped to maybe a guy's vest, another one clipped to another guy's vest off on kind of like a molly strap kind of deal there. They're starting to put on a lot of fishing products now. This one is kind of more my style, just kind of clipped off to the side of a lumbar pack like what I've got on mine, and looks like the pictures just kind of cycle back right there. Rugged, durable, recyclable construction with unique elastometric cap, readily accepts used tippet, wrappers, down cigarette butts, etc. Just basically micro trash like what I was saying earlier. And like I said, also, the Cycle Pond is, new gear, old material. So it's just basically recycled fishing lines, nets, that kind of thing. So really cool what Fishpond does with these things. And for the largemouth side of the equation, you actually do get to pick your colors. So right here when we open up the largemouth page, you already see somebody, shoving a bunch of fishing line off in that thing like it's supposed to be. And you can actually pick your colors with these guys. I didn't have that big of a problem with that because I ordered both of the colors available. So yeah, they come in that cutthroat orange and the steelhead blue. And as we scroll down through here for your specs, 6 3/4 by 3 3/4, and to me, just for kind of a focal point, if you have one of the Yeti 16-ounce tumblers, it's roughly around the same size as that. So pretty good size, fits in just about any cup holder. And again, just to kind of scroll down here and show you some of these pictures. Here's a picture of a guy just putting a little bag of trash, looks like a little snack wrapper or something like that, into the Piopod. Looks like he's got it just kind of sat in a cup holder here. Looks like a fish pond cup holder off to what appears to be a raft, and he's just kind of putting that in there and going about his way, right? So same type of deal. And like I said earlier, these things do not come with any kind of way of attaching them to anything other than that little D-ring that we see right there. And funny enough, if you scroll all the way down to this page, you will see that side attachment point makes it easy to zip tie, like I said earlier, to a D-ring or lash to a boat. And I didn't know that they expect you to zip tie these things, but zip ties are a dime a dozen, and it's really not that big of a deal. And honestly, it's worth buying the product over that. So again, these things will come out to be roughly around $52.85. And like I say, guys, definitely worth it for that.
That's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check us out on our social media platforms. See you on the water.